Have you heard of the term highly sensitive person? And I'm not just talking about the description like, oh, that person is so sensitive, and it's usually kind of said in a negative sort of way. I'm talking about the researched and documented trait, the highly sensitive person. And if you've never heard about this before, and it turns out that you do have this trait, learning this information can be life-changing. So in this video, I'm going to give you 8 examples that might tip you off to let you know if this applies to you, or maybe somebody you know. Hi, I'm Wendy Williams, and I teach Tai Chi for highly sensitive people. We make up 20% of the population and need a quiet way to recenter and recharge from anxiety, stress, and overwhelm. Join me in this journey of learning how to deeply engage your body and mind so that you can feel calm, strong, and at ease. I'm Wendy Williams, and this is Tai Chi Life. So to begin, you might be a highly sensitive person if you don't like shopping malls. Shopping malls have all the things that just completely overstimulate us. Bright lights, fluorescent lighting, music playing everywhere, but different music and different shops, lots of people. It's just too many things to see and hear and smell, the perfumes, and it's, for highly sensitive people, it's just too much coming in at once. It's what gives us overstimulation and overwhelm. On the other hand, you might really enjoy little cafes, little places that are familiar that you've learned to love, that are more quiet and just a nice place to be, to go and read and have a hot drink or sit quietly with a friend or two. So that's kind of along the lines of what a highly sensitive person likes to do, comparing a very busy shopping mall to a nice little bookshop or something. You may be a highly sensitive person if you don't like big parties. So this, like the last example, it's too much stimulation, it's too much going on. So when there's a lot of people in the room and you're kind of expected to mingle and talk with everybody, it's a lot to take in. So for me personally, I might be trying to speak with 1 or 2 people, but I'm aware of all the other people in the room. So I have a lot of difficulty just really focusing on the people I'm with. So big parties, not our favorite thing. You might be a highly sensitive person if you are soothed by nature. So in the last 2 examples, it's like we're noticing everything, but it's too much. It's too loud, it's too bright, but nature doesn't tend to be like that. It's more natural. And this is where the ability to notice so many things is much more enjoyable. So to see the light and shadow, how it falls, to notice the tracks in the snow, to kind of be the one to always be noticing the wildlife, like, oh, there's a bird, oh, there's a deer, oh, there's, and being able to see those, noticing the clouds in the sky, and all of those things are just help us to decrease our stress level. You may be a highly sensitive person if you need to be alone to recharge. Now, this category can include all kinds of things. We can look at introverts, empaths, certain personality types, like more the B personality as opposed to the A personality. Well, actually not necessarily, but you know what I mean. So it's not just highly sensitive people, but it falls under kind of a certain category of people who need that alone time to recharge, like really must be alone at times to kind of regroup and feel better to be able to go back out into the world again. So if you need that, you might be a highly sensitive person. You may be a highly sensitive person if you avoid the news. Not just the content, so definitely the content. Usually the news is showing us things of, unpleasant things going on in the world, and that can be really difficult for us to deal with. But it's also the way it's displayed. It's a lot of talking often there's, banners going across the bottom of the screen, and it's showing the weather and all the things happening all at once. And some restaurants or waiting rooms or people have these on in their homes running nonstop. And it's just too much of a bombardment of information, both the news itself and the way it's presented. So if you find yourself avoiding the news, that's a good sign you're a highly sensitive person. It's not that we don't want to know what's going on, we just have to find other ways. So like one way that works for me is watching more like the late night shows type of thing, even though I don't stay up late to watch them. But they're presented in more with a sense of humor, and it makes it easier to digest it. So we find our ways to compensate. You might be highly sensitive if you can't brush off people's negative energy. I often wish I had the ability to just do this. I know other people who don't seem to be affected by others, so even if I don't know the person, even if it's not directed to me, but if I'm in the vicinity of somebody who's agitated or angry or really sad or just something more distressing going on, I have a very difficult time of sort of letting them keep their emotions. So it kind of just easily comes into me. Even more so if it is directed at me or if it is something that has to do with me. But either way, people's negative energy, if it's just really hard to ignore it, then that's often the highly sensitive trait. You may be a highly sensitive person if you get flustered when there are too many things to do at once. So because we tend to really consider all the things that need to be done, not just the thing that needs to be done, but the things within it that need to be done, and this thing and that thing. And if I've got something at 2 o'clock, it's difficult for me to really focus on what I have to do before that because I'm aware of this. And I find other people are able to just take their one thing and focus on it and do it, and then go to the next thing and focus on it and do it. And it seems like it's just less distressing to them. So if you tend to kind of get flustered and then paralyzed that you can't even make a decision at all, then you might fit into this category as well. And finally, you may be a highly sensitive person if you get hangry. Have you heard this term before? This is when you combine the word hungry and angry. So it's not necessarily anger that comes out, but just that effect of being hungry and being so distracted by that you can't function or focus or make a decision on anything, because it's like your blood sugar levels just go all wonky and you just can't handle it. So if you find that happens to you, the next step for me is also just getting cranky. So the first thing is I start to not be able to make decisions, and then if it goes too long without food, then I get cranky. So do any of these sound like you? If so, I suggest that you go to Elaine Aron's website, and she's the one who did all the research on this in her book, The Highly Sensitive Person, and many supplements and other books that follow. But on her website, she has a self-test, so you can go through it and look at the questions and get a better sense if you feel like this is a sort of an umbrella that you can go under. We're never all in the same exact box, but what I find helpful is becoming aware of these things so that you don't feel so much like there's something wrong with you, that there are challenges, but there's also gifts to this. And the way that I deal with the challenges, of course, is my Tai Chi practice. It just helps to settle me down, keep me grounded, keep me connected to myself, and so that's what I'm sharing with you. Check that out on my website in the link below as well. So that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and be well.